Yo, I wanted to give a few tips about recording with microphones and your room and all that type of stuff. So tip number one, I would get a more expensive drum set over expensive microphones. Like, put your money into a quality kit, not, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 set of microphones. The microphone set that I have, I bought a cheap microphone set to start off with because I was still trying to decide what mics I want. So I bought this $100 microphone set off a pile, and I was surprised at how they sound. But I've heard those same microphones on a kit that's not as expensive as mine. I have a DW Collectors. So anyway, if you have a more expensive kit, that's going to help you out in the long run rather than buying expensive microphones and putting them on a cheap kit. Tip number two, I use an iRig Pro Duo. It's like $200. I got mine from Sweetwater. But like, some people try to get that because they see like me and other people using it, and they think that their mix is going to sound like that because they have an iRig Pro Duo. It's not the iRig that's making your stuff sound good. Like, at my house where I record, I have sound treatment on the walls, and I'm not talking about soundproof. I'm talking about soundproofing. I'm talking about sound treatment. Like, some people have Auralex on the wall, and what that's going to do is reduce like reflections in your room. Like, imagine trying to record drums in your bathroom. Like, it doesn't matter how good your mics are, it doesn't matter how good your drums are, like, you're gonna get the sound of the bathroom on your recording. So you got to make sure your room sounds good before anything else. Like, so people get some of this recording stuff, and then they be like, yo, my mix don't sound like that great. I thought this was like, basically they saying they thought the iRig was gonna fix everything, and it doesn't. You know what I mean? I do highly recommend the iRig because you don't have to edit anything. You literally plug it into your iPhone or your Android, and you plug into it from like your mixer, and then you just hit record, and it syncs audio and video together, so you don't have to edit anything. But what you get is what you're gonna have, so you can't go back and mix anything like in post-production, like after you record it. So that's tip number two. And then tip number three, I guess, is just, worry about your microphones last. You know what I mean? And if you're not really trying to record professional stuff for people, like, you don't need to have the best microphones. Like, I recommend that company POW from Amazon. I think that kit is like $150, and you get like 7 microphones. PYLE. So look them up. They even have a snare microphone that's like the famous Shure SM57, and I got it for like $12. Like, it was crazy, right? But that microphone is like $59 now. I think I might have. All right, this probably Corona that's probably got it that high now. But anyway, I'm trying to think of anything else. And I just recommend, man, go to YouTube and check out some professionals, like how to actually set up your microphones, because I see a lot of people just sling their overheads up any type of way, and that stuff matters. Like, your mic positioning matters. Like, when you get your mics on your drums, they should be pointed towards the center of the drums, not just pointed straight down, like into, like, close to the rim of the drum. Like, they should be pointed towards the center of the drum, like as far as your toms and your snares concerned. But yeah, your overheads, you might want to get some measuring tape and put the tape like in the middle of the snare drum and measure. It should be the same distance from each overhead. So it could be like 5 feet from your snare to your right overhead, and 5 feet, like if you put it in the middle of the drum and then measure up, like it should be 5 feet maybe from, or it wouldn't be 5 feet, probably 3 feet or 4 feet from the middle of the snare to the left overhead, and from the middle of the snare to the right overhead, literally the capsule. So what else, man? Common mistakes I see. Your interface. I use the Focusrite Claret Thunderbolt. I think it's like, they just dropped the price on it. Just like, I think like $500. When I bought mine, it was like $1,000, maybe like a year and a half ago. Like, I love that joint. They got some cheaper ones. If you want to just get in the game, and I say get in the game, if you want to record drums, like they even got Behringer audio interfaces. Like if you just want to record and get on Instagram to start recording yourself, you know, I say just go cheap, man, and buy whatever you can to, you know, just get your videos out there and get started, and then you can save up some money later to record like with better gear. Like I don't have the same gear that I started with. Now I have like all slate everything on my drums, like slate ML2. So I have more expensive gear now, but to get in the game, I just went cheap until I figured out what I really wanted to get. But like I said, my drum set sounded good. So, you know, and do not slouch on cheap cymbals, man. Like, get quality drums, get quality cymbals, man, before you try to go expensive on your microphones. I would not recommend trying to get some expensive microphones when you still have cheap drums. Like, your microphone set should not cost more than your drum set. Let's put it like that. Your microphone set should not cost more than your cymbals. Like, invest in some good cymbals, invest in some good drums, so that what is actually recorded sounds good before you even put any microphones on the stuff. That would probably be my number one tip, is to make sure, yes, you have good gear before you even buy expensive microphones and expensive audio interfaces and stuff of that sort, you know. Then worry about your mic cables, and you know, your audio interface, and then you can go for the you know, the iRig. And so once you get a good sounding drum set, step 2 is make sure you have sound treatment on your walls. Go on Amazon. I'm trying to remember the company. I don't have real Auralex on my walls because I got some other stuff that works just as fine. I can't remember the name of the company, but yeah, you don't need expensive Auralex or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You can go cheaper than that, and reduce those flutters and stuff in your room. So yeah, so get a good set, get you some sound treatment on the walls, and then after all of that, get you some good microphones. You can go Audix, like I think it's like the DP7 set with the D112 on the kick, and then the D2s on the toms. I think they got a D4. You can go, I don't know what the Shure kit is. I'm not sure. Oh, no pun intended. But I have personally slate stuff. I have the ML2s on my overheads. I got 5 of them around my kit. And so, actually 6 of them. So, yeah. You can go Audix, you can go Earthworks if you really want to go expensive, but you better have the best gear before you go Earthworks. I think Earthworks are like $3,000. They're like, some people think they're the best you can get, you know what I mean? But on the kick, I recommend the D112 no matter what, even if you got the Earthworks like kit, the mic kit. You can go a Beta 52 on your kick drum from Shure. You could go, I don't really like the AKG on the kick. I think it's a D112. I don't really like that on the kick. Depending on the application, though, what type of music you're recording. I'm getting really kind of techie right now, but anyway, like I said, quality gear, sound treatment, and then worry about your microphones and your interface. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's up to you. You could go and just a third. Like, if you got like $1,000, if you have $2,000, you can spend $700 on the kit. Now I would spend, okay, if you had $2,000, I would spend $1,200 on the, actually I would spend $1,500, no, $1,200 on the kit, and then I would get an interface that was like $300. That's gonna hit you for $15, and then I would get that pile mic set for $150, and then the rest of that you're gonna have to spend on stands, mic stands, and cables. The sound treatment. I think you might have $100 left in there before you get to $2,000. Spend $100 on sound treatment. Your ceiling is really important with your sound treatment, man. Your walls are important, and your corners in your room are important as well. Like my room that I record my drums in at home, if y'all watch my stuff, is probably a 10 by 10 room. It's a square, which is not recommended like in recording studios, but it is what it is. I record at home in my basement. So, but yeah, that's how I would split up my budget if I had $2,000. You know, if you only had $1,000 to spend, I would save up a little more money. But if you only had $1,000, man, it's not too much you could do as far as trying to get a whole setup. But if you only had $1,000, you could spend $500 on your kit, spend $150 on those power microphones, spend another $100 on sound treatment, get that Behringer audio interface, and then get you some stands and some cables. You might be over $1,000, but y'all get the point, man. Y'all get the point. So just hope this helps somebody, man. Just want to chime in and give some help instead of answering these questions one by one in my DMs. I figure everybody could benefit from it. So yeah, fam, holler at y'all.